Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. On behalf of the Northern English Language Teachers Collaboration Network Sabah, or NELCoNS, I'd like to warmly welcome all of you tonight for the Community of Practice session. So this part of webinar is part of our ongoing series of NELCoNS webinar, where we aim to share best practices, classroom strategies, and practical insights to support English teachers in the Northern Zone and beyond. So tonight's focus is very interesting. SpeakingXpress, Mission Possible for SPM. I trust the session will offer valuable insights for everyone watching this live session. So before we begin, let me share how the session will be conducted. We will have a 45 minutes of presentation by our guest speaker. This will be followed by a 15 minutes Q&A session. So if you have any questions during the talk, please type them in the live chat and we will address them during the Q&A session. At the end of the session, we will share the registration form link for your attendance record. Please make sure to fill it in. We also ask you to write a reflection in the Padlet. This is very important as it shows active participation and help us strengthen our NELCoNS activities. And lastly, don't forget to follow the NELCoNS Facebook page for updates on our upcoming webinar in this series. So this is the fourth episode of the ongoing NELCoNS webinar series. Our invited speaker this evening is Madam Nurshila Binti Umar Baki, the principal of SMK Temenggong Ahmad, Tangkak, Johor. Madam Nurshila brings 26 years of teaching experience to this session, holding a Bachelor of Education in TESOL and a Master of Art in English from UPM, as well as Diploma in Educational Management and Leadership from IAB. She will be sharing practical strategies to help students excel in SPM speaking. She is also a CEFR curriculum induction trainer for Tangkak, a trainer for speaking assessment in her district, and remains active in sharing answering techniques for all SPM papers in Tangkak and Muar. Please join me in welcoming Madam Nurshila Binti Umar Baki. Hello, Madam.
Hi, hello.
Hi.
Thank you, Carmella.
Yeah, how are you tonight, Madam?
Fine. I feel amazing today. I feel great.
Yeah, I am excited to have our sharings for tonight. So, what can we expect from tonight's session, Madam?
This is whatever that I'm sharing today is actually based on my experiences, and maybe whatever that I've tried in class may be useful for all my friends out there.
Okay. So, without further ado, I now hand the session over to our speaker, Madam Nurshila, to share her insights on how we can help our SPM students to ace in their speaking paper throughout the SpeakingXpress session for tonight. So, Madam Nurshila, the stage is yours.
Thank you again, Madam Carmella. Assalamualaikum and warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening to everyone. I'm Nurshila Binti Umar Baki, Principal of Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Tengku Temenggong Ahmad, Kundang, Johor, and I'm proud to say that I am an English teacher. Okay, I'm happy to be here with the Northern English Language Teachers Collaboration Network, Sabah, and especially at a critical point where students are the Form 5 SPM candidates are actually preparing for their paper 3, which is going to be on the 10th November to 13th November soon. Okay, if I count well, it will be about 26 days to go. All right. I believe that. Okay, I believe that mission possible for SPM is not impossible. So it can be done as long as we give it a try. Okay, so I remember my first school, which is in SMK Song, Kapit, Sarawak, where English is actually not the first language. In fact, it's not the second language or even the third language. Sometimes it's definitely a foreign language. So to read is a problem. What more to speak? So truthfully, I'm a bit nervous too today. Okay. Oh, it's going. Sorry. Okay, and teachers. Uh, Personally, I'm very sure that all teachers are, you know how to assess speaking, whether as assessor or interlocutor. Okay, and it's also a good idea, however, to let the students be aware of this, how they are being assessed. Okay, especially the good ones, so that they know the idea of how they can score, whether to score better. For example, the grammar part, the vocabulary part, as well as the communicative competence. If they know how to score, maybe they can get better marks for this. Okay, and I'm very sure. Um, what is the best activity as a warmer activities to start with our pupils? Okay, okay, let me do this. So normally, for speaking sessions, speaking classes, or even speaking workshop, I would like to start my session with training on the pronunciation. And one way to have a fun element is definitely using the uh, tongue twisters. And this is what I'm showing here is actually one of the easiest one, I assume, with our pupils. Hassock, black spotted hassock, black spot on a black back of a black spotted hassock. And the fun will continue where the moment you pick up the pace, okay, and if it becomes faster, and your pupils will have it will definitely put them at ease. And of course, besides this, we have lots of other tongue twisters. This is a classic, I'm very sure. Peter Piper, pick a pack of pickled peppers. Okay, a pack of pickled peppers. Peter Piper, Peter Piper, pick a pack of pickled peppers. Where's the pack of pickled peppers? Peter Piper, pick. And imagine if this is done with the whole class. There will be shouts. Okay, there will be laughter. Okay, so the pupils will actually have it will definitely put at ease. Okay, and okay, so I also believe that we need to walk through the process one at a time. Sometimes we forget these teachers. Okay, normally especially for our weak and average students, it's good actually good to start these warmer questions since form 4, even because it takes time actually to master even the first part of speaking. For example, I myself still have students who still stumble each time we do this warmer. How do you go to school? What do you see on upper? Where do you live? They still have problems sometimes. Maybe it's due to being nervous. Okay, so I have. So these are actually the part 1 and part 2. You see this kind of questions, and I'm sure teachers you are familiar with this. Okay, and how do I my solution for this first part is actually to have these questions on colored papers with big prints. And one year I have pink, one year I have sometimes I have green, and sometimes yellow like this. And I love using big prints. And why do I have this handout with my students colorful? Is because I like my handouts to be noticed. When you give white papers, normal A4 papers printed, they tend to uh, lose the papers. Okay, and uh, and I love them. I love them just to uh, whenever they search for their paper, their handout, they will know that, oh, English, my for speaking, this year is pink. Next year will be sometimes it's green. Okay, so teachers, you have PCG money, right? So you should try out, not only buying books, colored papers like this, okay? So that the students will have something to hold on. That's why I did tell earlier that for weak students to average students, we need to guide them. So it's good to have on to hold on something while they practice. And we can vary this activity. Sometimes I ask each student one question at the first part of the moment I entered class. So everyone has to answer all the questions before the whole class sit down. So this is the warmer activity that I always do with my pupils. And once a while, I will let them ask each other with their partner, ask each other. Okay. And then there are times when I just ask the whole time, the whole class, to answer loudly, whether their name is Christina, whether their name is Aisha. So I just ask them questions and they will answer me at that time. So you can actually try this many ways, just to put them on their feet, and then to make them alert. Okay, so for weak students, we definitely have to go through these two questions again and again. Teach them the correct way to answer. Sometimes, how do you come to school? They will be saying like motorcycle. And they'll say that I come to school by walking. Instead, teach them to say I walk to school. It's easier and it's simpler. Okay? And so these are some of the things that we can start with our pupils. Okay, and for the next part two, the long term, 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, with only 20 seconds to 20 seconds to actually think. Sometimes it's not that easy. It can be the one longest 1 minute or the shortest 1 minute for our pupils. Okay, so sometimes we feel that some of these topics are actually easy, but after all, we are English teachers, so we tend to think that, oh, takkan tak boleh jawab, yeah, it's very easy. But it's not the case with our pupils. They may be in the A class, in a pure science class, but struggling for English. So first of all, they need to know for this part, what are they expected for this long term? What is sometimes pupils tend to treat it like answering comprehension questions. As long as they have answered all the questions and they are happy. But for good students, we want them to get better marks. So they need to know that they should not treat it like answering comprehension questions. They need to be clear. You need to have the language and ideas, the accuracy, and the appropriacy of linguistic resources. So they need to know that for part two, they have to. Oh, something is wrong. Okay, sorry. They need to give information, talk about their experience. They need to explain, give reasons, and sometimes they need to describe people. So first of all, we need to teach people some strategies. This is what I mean by walking through the whole process with our pupils. So teach them some strategies on how, especially the good ones. Okay, we need to have some ample guide for them. So for the weak ones, actually, we need to scaffold more for the weak ones. And I believe that in CEFR syllabus, we need to practice a lot of recycling the words. Okay, this is actually the basis of CEFR. You need to recycle some of the words. Okay, and I also incorporated this. You see this here. Oh, there's a lot of things on my slide. Sorry. Okay, I also incorporated language arts when I
So,
teach.
Madam Nurshila, sorry,
Yeah, yeah.
in which slide are we now? Because I think the slide is not moving on
We are at slide 9, is it?
slide 9. Okay, okay.
Okay, correct. Okay, so I will talking about still at part 2. Maybe teachers, you have heard about learning styles, VARK learning styles. So earlier this year, I had my counselor conducted a VARK survey. But sometimes counselors, they also have this psychometric where we can actually incorporate the findings in our class. So as for myself, I prefer VARK, where V is for visual, audio, A is for audio, R is for reading and writing, and K for kinesthetic. So I know what kind of students I have in my class. So it's a good idea to know this so that I know what are their learning preferences. So for my class this year, I discovered that most of them are actually kinesthetic. They are sports person. And some of them are actually, they love audio visual. Hi, everyone. Okay, I see some familiar faces. Hi, V. Okay. Um, so I also know that discovered that some of my pupils are actually the audio visual type. That's why I decided to incorporate the use of colored cards for my uh, SpeakingXpress project. So as you can see, I've used a lot of cards. I even brought along tonight in case you want to see this. So I bought very thick colored cards together with those are rings. Okay, where you can hold the paper together. You punch the card and hold the paper together. And of course, this cheap magic pens where normally you find them with the primary school students. Okay, so I use this. Okay, and then I normally have some session with but as starters, I have a session with them where we create these cards. So I have two types of cards actually. The smaller ones, if you can see in the slide, is there, right, Camilla? You can see the cards, is it? Yes, okay. So the small ones are actually the vocabulary card. The bigger ones are actually the speaking cards. So I drafted a language frame for part 2 and part 3 so that my pupils, they have that enough scaffoldings, enough support that they need. So that they know which is step 1, which is step 2, and I have them all the steps numbered in fact. Then I make sure that when using these cards, I go slowly start practicing part 2 with this card, and I make sure that everyone, even the walker, the sprinters are very good. Okay, are very sure of how to start, what's number 2, what's step 3, and what's step 4, so that they know the whole process. And I will do this until they are able to do it on their own. Uh, and trust me, it works wonders this year with my class 5 innovative. Uh, Even with the ones who really needed a lot of attention. So finally, they are getting it, but you need a lot of patience and a lot of recycling of the words and the process. It was actually my eureka moment. Okay, finally, I found something that works with the pupils, and it was slow but a sure process. I make sure that even the walker tried continuously, sometimes with their partners, sometimes individually. And there are times when I just put them in groups and they can help each other. Normally, the sprinters, it's good to have a sprinters in the group so that the sprinters, the good ones can assist the ones who needs more help. And then once part 2 is fulfilled, only then will I proceed to part 3. So it's a slow process. So if you look at here at my one of some of the cards, okay, so I have number 1, number 2. If you can see, it's numbered. And I realized that when I was getting ready for my session today, that some of my pupils actually tried this on their own. They've been going through some questions and they actually tried some of the questions on their own. Okay, so just now is part 2, this is part 3. So I have already a very simple language frames for them. Okay, today I'm going to share with you this part. This is part 2, language frame. So I always have them saying, today I want to talk about. So maybe there are many ways, teachers, you can start with your pupils. Okay, there are many ways to do this. So far, this works for me. So I give them the topic, they have the question, and and I always tell them, you have to change to you. The good ones, they can do it, no problem. But the weak ones, sometimes they repeat the question. And then for the second bullet, I ask them to start with first of all. Maybe some who are finding very difficult, you can just teach them firstly. And I teach them to say, in my opinion, or sometimes I think. And if they can give examples, they can also give examples. Okay, one example, one reason. So this is a way of how I teach my kids, not only for speaking but also for reading, for writing. So one example, one reason, or one way is. So grammatically, the sentence is right. But trust me, I've been repeating this sentence again and again so that they get it. Okay. And of course, and another one, we definitely have to teach them how to use the linkers correctly, appropriately. Okay. And this is a sample question that I did with my students. Okay, so the title is My Hometown. Talk about your hometown. So as you can see, there's bullet 1, 2, 3, 4. And I've tried this with my pupils. So based on the language frames that I've shared with you just now, okay, so they are able to actually just fill in. Sometimes they have those grammar mistakes, but most importantly, they are speaking. And they know that, okay, what is number 1? I always say, okay, what is number 1? What is number 2? What is number 3? So we go by numbers, by the process. So they will know which comes first. So they won't go blank, or they don't know how to go about the question. I always tell them, go back to my question, to go back to the language frames, regardless of the questions. So far, it works wonders. Hopefully, during exam, they don't go they don't panic, or they don't suddenly feel that it's too difficult for them. As long as they remember that, go back to the language frame. Okay, so this is one sample that I got from my students. Okay, and this is another one also. Okay, another question. So it seems that it fits. Today I want to talk about a festival I know. So just to begin, every time, whatever the question is, I told them, start with first of all. Answer. First of all, my hometown is. First of all, it is Eid al-Fitr. So always start with first of all. So they know what they are supposed to do. Okay? And whenever they have to give opinion, they will start with in my opinion. So far it's okay. Do we have any questions at the moment, Carmella? No questions.
Let me check. Yeah, so far no question yet.
All right. Okay, so this is for the part 2. So, and during this process, they understood the process, but the problem is obviously lack of words or vocabulary. I'm not sure about you guys, but um, for my class at the moment, I have a really mixed ability. So differentiation strategy is definitely a must. Some are very good, very fast, and half of the other some are actually crawling one at a time. But again, I love recycling words. Okay, for example, whenever we talk about benefits of activities, I think it's a good idea, to just stick to certain answers. For example, for school activities, I always tell them, whatever kind of activities, as long as it's school activities or whatever, always talk about the benefits are gain knowledge and experiences. So whenever we have sports day, I ask them, they will repeat the same answer. So for example, Independence Day activity, they will use the same thing, which is gain knowledge and experiences. Then I add up a little bit, get new friends. So whenever they see any kind of activities, so they know that uh, they have to use this as their answer. Okay. Are there any? I can't see actually. There's, any universal. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, Iman Zakaria. So the universal responses that they can actually use. So for example, if we're talking about activities, the benefits of activity, benefits of sports, benefits of joining co-curricular activities. So gain knowledge and experiences, gain some new skills, get new friends. And sometimes, for example, why is it some of the activities? So how do you find these activities? I always tell them, why did you like something? It's always fun, enjoyable. Always use the same thing. So I but for sprinters, this is for our weak ones, okay, where we need to repeat a few times. Trust me, from the beginning of the year up to now, even my sprinters are even telling me, Madam, you are, they know already the answers, but the weak ones, we sometimes they forget. Okay, so it's good to have to recycle the language, fun, enjoyable. Okay, and but for the sprinters at the same time, okay, teach them how to justify the answers. So since I have two completely different groups in my class, so I will cater one, the recycling part for the um, weak ones, whereby for the sprinters, we need to teach them how to justify their answers, how they can expand ideas, and how, whenever they need to give examples, and definitely use a lot of linkers. But for our weak ones, sometimes using linkers are also a bit difficult. And sometimes when they use linkers, it's not appropriately used. But again, it's their effort. Okay, and as I mentioned just now, differentiation strategy is definitely a must. Okay, and you have different levels of scaffolding if you have a mixed group. Okay, so that is for my part two. Okay, and then just to add up the fun, sometimes it's, if you ask them question, they answer. So sometimes they also find it's quite dry. I have a few tricks that I want to share. So I have sometimes so far I haven't started using the questions jar, but before this, with my other groups of students, I have tried this. Okay, where I have bottles like this. Okay, this kind of bottles jar, and you put all strips of papers where you have the questions, the questions in the jar, and just go around, ask pupils to just pull out one question, and you give them a sweet, or you give them a reward. Okay, so you just go around. Sometimes you go in a group, sometimes you do it individually, or even as a whole classroom activity. Just let them to take a question from the jar and answer. Uh, I also have this. I've just developed this speaking board. So it's a kind of like um, what? This is something like the Monopoly type. Okay, so I have two types actually. This is the prototype, which is a hard board, but I also have the roller boards where the kids can we can have them in groups, small groups, and they can try playing this. I will have dice with me, so just to let them try it out. It doesn't matter if it's wrong, okay, but when you have this kind of activities, it's a good idea to do it in groups. Put your sprinters, put the good ones there as their buddy. And sometimes you realize that this week's pupils, they become more confident. They are less shy when they are talking with their peers. Even though some of the peers like to laugh at how their friends speak, the pronunciation, but it's okay because they are in a learning process. Okay, and this is my language frame for part 3. Okay, again, the good students, they must know what kind of discourse features are expected from part 3, which is a discussion task. And it has to look like a discussion. Sometimes they are very static. Do you agree with me? I agree with you. Do you agree with me? I agree with you. Those kind are kind of static sometimes. And it's like prepared. But again, for good students, we can ask them to act a little bit like it's a discussion with a friend, so they can do the focus is actually to have the turn taking and the way they respond. So another important aspect when I do part 3 is they must understand the question. When you have the word how, it means way. How they want to do something, so it's actually way. And why, for example, why so I have a few questions here. For example, here I have this morning I tried how to reduce crime. So the moment they say the word how, they know it's already way. So why do I have this? So that they don't repeat the question in the middle. Sometimes when they start repeating the question in the middle, so they make a lot of grammatical mistakes. So tell them that how is way. So for example, when they want to talk about one of the point, they can say one way is to, so they know already. They don't have to repeat how to reduce crime. So they straight away, one way to reduce crime is to start a neighborhood watch, for example. And for those that start with why, they know that why is reason. For example, one question that we had is why do people need to manage their time well? So automatically, the students must know that why answers the word reason. So whenever they make sentences, for example, one reason people need to manage their time well is to reduce stress, for example. So even you can, sometimes I teach them one way is, sometimes another way is. So, we are not only teaching them how to speak, but we are also at the same time simultaneously teach them to write. Okay. So I always tell my pupils that speaking, whenever I teach speaking, I'm actually also teaching writing. Okay, so this is the frame. So let's talk about one topic. Let's talk about why do people need to manage their time well. And again, the same way, start with, first of all, they need to reduce stress. What do you think? Sometimes they ask you, Do you agree with me? That's the most popular one, right? So I have slashes, but to be careful when using slashes, sometimes your weak ones will start reading everything. So that's why you have to be very clear when you tell your pupils. So you nak pakai yang mana? Which one you want to use? What do you think? Or do you agree with me? And again, for number 4, I agree with you. So instead of saying I agree with you, you can also say that's a good idea. So these are actually particularly for our weak ones. But for the good ones, you can actually tell them to use words like I definitely agree with you. Wow, that's a good idea. So ask them to act a little bit like it's a discussion. And again, the others is just the same with the first frame. In whenever they give opinions, in my opinion, and also not to forget to use linkers whenever they think is suitable. And of course, for the last part, we think which way we think this is the best way. So I've already prepared this, but for the good ones, they don't have any problems. And when I do part 3, I love to use drawing blocks. You know those drawing blocks where you guys love, most people love mahjong paper, but I love using drawing blocks. Okay, you can see here I have drawing blocks, and also those magic pens are also back. They can use that, and you see that my kinesthetic ones, my students who are very sports, they need actions. If not, they will fall asleep. Walking from the front, next table, getting magic pens, writing this, kejap lagi. Sometimes they want a different color, or I need this color. So the class is lively. So everyone is alive. So even you can also do this when you teach writing. Whenever I have this is manageable. I prefer drawing blocks rather than mahjong paper. And I also have all these laminated question sets. So I have quite a number ready for next activity. Whenever they will be, so for the good ones, there will be more freedom later. But for the weak ones, okay, we need them to hold on to the paper, and you get sit with them, listen to them. And you can have pairs. When you have laminated questions like this, you can ask them to sit with their partners and practice speaking. And for the good ones, I will leave these questions, these sets of questions in the class. So I told them sometimes you get bored, very tired, doing maths, memorizing biology, memorizing history, at maths and everything. So if you feel bored, take take one of the questions and do it, because this one is you don't have to memorize things, so they can just practice based on the from the frames that they have from their cards. Okay. For the sprinters, I think this is also a good idea, whereby they will help their friends. And if I have time later, I'll definitely start with my game board. Okay, and the questions jar. So part 3 is also very helpful to do it by chunks. For the weak students, instead of trying everything, all the 6 points, maybe it's a good idea to start one by one. So sometimes you see them struggling, trying to find the words and everything. Okay. So again, I have the conclusion for SpeakingXpress is actually I've integrated a lot of language arts, because last year I got this idea from a friend when I had this activity with UIA, with International Islamic International University in Pagu, Dr. No. And we have, at that time I was in my previous school, SMA Samsudinia. We have these two professors from US sharing us use how to use language arts. And that is why I love students using colored papers, drawing blocks and colored. I love the color coding. For those audio-visual students, they can actually imprint all these images in their head. Sometimes they don't need to memorize. They can have it. They know that they can actually see the numbers and everything. So that's why I incorporated the VARK learning strategies. So it helps. If you're not sure, you can ask your counselors to help you. Okay, and of course, I do a lot of recycling of language, the words, the phrases, as I mentioned. And if you have a class like mine this year, where I have two uh, very different groups, you need to use a lot of differentiation strategy. And if you only focus to the weak ones, the good ones will feel bored. So you have to give them some challenge. And of course, whatever I'm doing after 26 years, you have to evolve your teaching strategies. The moment you have this kind of group, you have to change something else. And today I had a very interesting discovery actually. The Form 4 students, I just introduced this to another group whenever I go for relief. Okay, that's why even though I'm a principal, I actually love to go into relief classes and I start teaching English. Okay, so I introduced these cards with my Form 4 students, and they've been telling their English teacher that madam's colored paper are different from the normal ones. It's thicker and they love it just because of the kind of paper that we use and the markers that I brought into class. Okay, so basically this is the conclusion of what I have done for speaking, and I hope all the best to everyone. Okay, and I hope that you can also try this with your class, especially if you have those who needs a lot of scaffolding, a lot of help. Okay, I think that's all. Carmilla, I finished all my slides.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Madam Nurshila, for the sharing. If I may, if I may summarize what you have shared tonight, I see lots of you did lots of consistent efforts in implementing your techniques in teaching speaking. And what I love the most is you actually provided lots of easily accessible samples of sentences for the students to practice on. So you don't only teach, but you also yes, that one, yeah, and you also give them you be the model of how to say sentences correctly other than the easily accessible resources. Yeah, so I really like the the cards that you provided,
Yeah.
and the ones that you yes, and the ones that you leave in the classroom where the students can actually use it on their own when there are when they have free time. So I think that is a very good idea, but of course, we need to be consistent in our effort. And then I also like the idea of having all the samples in colored paper, because it actually has, I think, in my opinion, it actually has psychological effect on the students' learning. That yeah, one of the teachers commented that it's especially useful for the students who always forget their papers, the papers they are
Yeah.
given.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, I really like that idea, and I can see in the comments that Yeah, most of the teachers also agree with me that we like your ideas. And teachers, how is it for you? Is it doable in your school? I think that is doable. Yeah. So do we have question? Okay, let me check. Okay. I don't think we have question in the chat, in the live chat, but I do have questions for you, madam.
Okay, sure. Why not?
Yeah, I do have question for you. So, the first question that I have is, how do you address students who lack confidence or are too shy to speak, despite of the resources that we provided? I I'm sure there are still students who are very shy. So how do we help them?
Okay, one way is definitely by using their buddy, their friends. Those who are the good ones actually, they can actually assist us. Sometimes pupils, they are very shy to speak in front of the class. Not
Mm,
sometimes they are shy to speak in front of the class, or sometimes to talk to us they are scared to make mistakes. It's normal, but we can start to break their to break their fear and build up their confidence by pairing them and let them speak. And speak to their partners. Okay, so when they talk, I've seen pupils who needs help. When they sit together with their partner, they will ask questions and they will try. And I think that is the best way to help our shy ones.
okay, thank you, madam. I have two more questions. Is it okay for you?
Okay, sure, sure, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, in your experience, what causes students to lose marks unnecessarily in speaking test?
Okay, Carmilla, this is what I believe. And I've been told that CFR is about what they can do, it's not what they
Mm,
cannot do. So when we
yes.
assess them during speaking or writing, is what they can do. So
Mm,
um, if they don't answer, definitely they don't get any marks. But if we have prepared them, I think they will be able to answer, and we will give marks to what they can do. And
mm,
as they speak more, their marks will increase. They will become better, get better marks actually.
okay. Okay. Thank you, madam. One more question. How can teachers support students with limited vocabulary during the exam? During the exam itself, how can teachers support students with limited vocabulary?
Okay, so I think when we have language frames like this, it definitely helps. As I mentioned just now, I put them in numbers so that they can recall them in numbers. So, and I also have those small cards, remember? Okay, the smaller ones. So, when we have the smaller cards, actually, this is actually for
Mm,
vocabulary. Okay, and whenever they come across, when we do reading, we come across words which they think, I give the freedom to my pupils. Okay, what if they think it's useful for them, they will write in the card and find the meaning on their own. But some there are also instances where I actually insisted that, okay, you should put this word encourage, for example, kan? So the words encourage is actually some of the most used words when we do writing, answering for reading comprehension. So they need to know the words. Some of the words we have to insist that they write it. And why do I have all these cards instead of I can actually photocopy the language frames,
mm,
but for those when they write, they remember more. This is what I believe. And also for one of the techniques, learning techniques, is actually when we write, we read and we write. Okay, so it's also a way to help them with their memorization of some of the words. And that is why I don't photocopy. I let them write.
Mm,
And the small cards are actually meant to help them with the vocabulary.
I see. Okay, thank you so much, Madam Nurshila. And I see we have a question in the live chat from, what is this, serial? Okay, that's the question, Madam. May I
How
ask,
do
how do I improve my speaking skills?
Okay, I assume that you are sitting for your SPM also. So, one of the way is maybe you can have this language frame. Okay, you have your cards, okay, and you write down, okay, how you want to answer your questions during exam. And also, do not feel shy to try and speak in class, regardless of whether your grammar is wrong or you don't know the words. Okay, just speak. I've seen students who are not shy and they just speak and it do wonders to them. Okay, don't. And I think listening to music, watching English programs also help you with your speaking. Sometimes you can follow how they speak.
I
I
see.
hope that
Okay,
helps.
yeah, I hope that helps too. And we have another question, Madam, from Prakash. Yeah, from, I think this is a teacher. Are interlocutor help when student didn't have any ideas? Or can the
Um,
interlocutor help?
okay, strictly speaking, we have to follow to the for apa we have to follow the script that we have. We can't actually change the words but there are two options, right? Well, we have the first question, and there is another set of question that the interlocutor can interchange this. And maybe if they are not speaking, you can ask the question again. Maybe you can try a few times. Maybe the student is actually struggling searching for the word. There is this
Okay,
interlocutor frame, right, Camila?
yeah.
So we have to strictly follow that.
Okay, we have another question. This is actually about writing, but I think no harm in asking this, right, Madam?
Yeah, sure.
How do I
So
improve my writing skill?
whatever that I'm trying for speaking, if you try it, Natasha, you'll definitely will improve your writing. It's the same thing. Both skills are output skills. So, for example, just now when I was talking about recycling the language, it's just the same. So just now remember when I said, okay, benefits of activities, gain knowledge and experience. So as you can see, both can be used. It can be used both in writing as well as in speaking. And don't forget to do a lot of reading.
Yeah, lots of reading and practice. Okay,
Yes,
another
yes,
question. Another question, Madam, from Nur
yeah, sure.
Anna. Can we ask for question if there are words we don't know the meaning? I think this is during the exam itself.
If in class you can ask as many questions as you like, but for during exam, we cannot ask question, right, Camila?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are, and as teachers and the ones be the invigilators, we are not supposed to help the students in the exam.
Hmm. Okay, thank you, Madam. Okay, I
Yeah,
don't
sure.
see any more questions, but I found some interesting comments. Oh, Daniel Hakimi, Madam, saya susah paham BI.
It's okay. With lots of practice, besides do reading, you can actually listen and watch movies. Sometimes you have to change your channel, your radio channel once in a while in the morning. Maybe listen to a little bit of English. The moment you do this, you can actually improve your English. But this does not happen in a day. In its language
Mm,
has to be practiced. Watch more
yes.
English movies, more, and even when you play games, it's a wonder that you guys can actually understand the instructions. The instructions are all in English when you play games, right? So these are some
Yeah.
of the ways maybe you can pick up your English. And nowadays online you have lots of comics, lots of novels that you can actually read easily.
Yeah. I agree. Practice is definitely helps us to get better. And I like this comments from Amrizal. A short pencil is better than a long memory. Yeah. So that's what our effort do to us.
Yeah,
Okay.
true.
Okay. Okay. Do we have any more comments? Okay. And I see some of your, I think your teachers and your students are here, madam. I see lots of comments from your teachers and your students as well. And they are
All
all
right.
thanking you. Yeah, just like us, we are so grateful for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope that you can try this. In order to get
Mm.
good marks in speaking, do we need to practice using C1 vocabulary? Actually, if you use any words but it's not appropriate, okay, you may not get the marks. Um, but if you use simple words but it's appropriate in the context, you can get good marks. So that is a ban actually. So without has, for example, for speaking, uh, with lots of hesitation, without hesitation. So those are some of, that's why that I mentioned earlier. It's a good idea to know the rubrics of how you get good marks for your speaking. So it is definitely from vocabulary, from communicative competence, and also the grammar part. Okay. Uh, just talk to your teacher. Can I have a look at how I can get good marks? Look at the rubric, how you are being assessed. Then you get a better of idea on how to improve your speaking so that you get good marks in speaking.
Okay, one more question. How to continue if we don't have any idea for speaking?
Um, there are actually many ways of how you can generate ideas. Okay, so if you don't have any idea, there are. I've also taught my students whenever they do writing this technique of the five senses. Okay, what you can see, what you can do, what you can your five senses, so you can have more ideas. You can generate ideas. Not hopefully it will not you will not get stuck at that one particular part. And should also think about giving examples. Not only if you don't have any ideas, try to give uh, try to give examples when you don't have any ideas. Okay, this is a good question, Carmilla, for doing well
Yeah.
on the hot question in part 3. Okay, over the years, I have discovered this one thing about this horse question. Sometimes, most of the time, we ask the role of teenagers, what they can do. Uh, so, one of the things that I have actually shared with my previous students, um, just when they ask for the role of pupils in any of the themes being talked about for environment and they can always say they organize campaigns on social media because these are the current things for HOTS question. So they wanted to know what are the rules, what can teenagers do. So we need to think about ways of how they can, be more active. So one way that I've taught my pupils is actually to organize campaigns on social media by the use of social media, by sharing information on social media. Okay, so those are some of the things that I've thought about. I have some tips on that. But for the other parts, they need to do a lot of reading and listen to a lot of news too.
Yeah, we need to have lots of inputs in order for us to tackle the question. Yeah.
Yes.
Madam, we have 2 more questions. Is it okay for you?
Okay, sure. If I can
Okay.
answer.
Yeah. There we have this question. If we add bombastic words,
Okay.
is give effect for the mark.
Benny. Okay. For it is a bombastic word. It's a very high flown word, but it's not appropriately used. You may not get the mark. It might not give the impact that you want. But if you use a wide range of appropriate vocabulary to give and exchange views on a wide range of topics, then you'll be able to get better marks. And then you can convey specific differences in meaning through appropriate choice of vocabulary, as I mentioned. If it's appropriately used, no problem. But if it's not appropriately used, it may not give you the impact. It's similar to when you do writing also.
Okay. Thank you, madam. I think we take this question. One last question. I always forget the meaning of English words after I study them. Can you give me an easier way to remember?
Okay. Why don't you have a card like my students? Okay,
Yeah.
then you can yeah, and you can be. You know why I have cards instead? Because I find it very annoying sometimes. You know, Carmilla, the kids
Mm.
write on pieces of paper with pencil, and sometimes they use their maths book, sometimes at the back of their English exercise book, and then they totally forgotten about the words. So in order for me to help them, so that's why I have these cards. So they know where to go and search for their words. And then I always tell them, do not use pencil. Use colorful pens, because if you use red pen, green pen, purple pen, it means that that word is important to you. And
Mm.
always write in big handwriting. Then you will remember better. Trust me. That's why all my handouts, they are in big prints, so that pupils can remember better. I hope that helps.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's about the end of our Q&A session. And thank you so much for all the audience who have been with us. Yeah. Actually, there is another question. Should we answer that, madam? One more.
Yeah, sure. So that everyone is happy
Yeah.
tonight. I
I
hope I
feel
can
bad
help.
not showing it. If pupils
If
just answer
people
the questions before the time is up, does it affect marks?
before as long as it's within the time given, they'll definitely be assessed. There will definitely be marks for them. But the moment the interlocutor ring the bell, and that's it. They won't get any marks after the time. But within the time, anything can definitely help them if it's in English.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, madam. Okay. I think we end the Q&A session here. Thank you so much to all the audience for participating actively in our session tonight. So just a reminder, the registration form and Padlet links are being shared in the live chat by our technical team, so do check them out. So, Madam, before we wrap up the session tonight, any last words from you?
Okay, in this 26 years of teaching, there's a lot of things that I've learned. And one of the most important thing teachers is to be patient. A lot of patience, loads and loads of patience. Sometimes you have to remind your pupils again and again. You have to repeat the same things again and again, but it's okay. We'll the most important thing is your passion, your patience, and then you just give it a try. Then I'm very sure at one point your students will be successful.
All right. Thank you so much, Madam. I really enjoy our session tonight, and I'm sure our audience did too. So, on behalf of NELCoNS, I would like to sincerely thank you again, Madam Nurshila, for your insightful sharing, and extend my gratitude to all of our audience in the YouTube Live for joining us this evening. So, as a token of appreciation, let's enjoy this short video prepared to honor our speaker. Okay, thank you again to our speaker for tonight, Madam Nurshila. I hope we meet again in next session, one way or another. And thank you to all the audience for tonight. And so, before we end our session tonight, audience, please don't forget to fill in the registration form, which has been shared in the live chat. And write your reflection, teachers, write your reflection in the Padlet, which is very important for us to show engagement and impact. And we have NELCoNS Facebook page. So please follow the Facebook page so that you can stay updated on the next session in this webinar series. And for all the links, you can copy all the links first and do it later. So last but not least, I hope and we hope that you found tonight's community of practice session beneficial. On behalf of the community of practice, I wish you all a pleasant evening, and we'll see again in the next webinar. So that's all from us for tonight, and see you next time. Good night to everyone. Good night, Madam. Thank you all, audience.